Every morning, you do the same thing. You wake up and you reach for coffee. One sip, and suddenly your brain feels switched on. But why has this habit followed you for so long? Is it the taste? The smell? Or is there something inside that cup that keeps you coming back? Here's the twist. The real mystery isn't in the brown powder. It's in what happens inside your brain minutes after you drink it. Coffee doesn't give you energy. It blocks the signal that tells your brain to slow down. Let's get into it right here on Secrets of Simple Things. A short history: why coffee arrived at the right time. Long before coffee became a morning habit, people already had many things to drink: water, tea, beer, and wine. For much of human history, beer and wine were not just for pleasure. They were often safer than plain water, and they helped people relax after long days of physical work. But there was a limit to that comfort. Alcohol slows the body down. It softens the mind. In a slower world, that was not a problem. Then life began to change. Cities grew larger. Workdays became longer. More and more people needed to stay alert, focused, and mentally sharp for hours at a time. Society no longer rewarded rest. It rewarded attention. That is when coffee began to matter. Coffee did not make people drunk. It did not make them calm or dreamy. It did one simple thing. It helped people stay awake. Coffee did not win because it tasted good. In fact, many people had to learn to like it. Coffee won because it fit a new kind of life. A life where being awake was valuable. In coffee houses, people did not just drink. They read, they wrote, they argued, they planned. Coffee quietly became fuel for thinking, for long conversations, and for days that could not end early. But here is the surprising part. Coffee does not give the body new energy. It does not add fuel. What it really does is block a very old signal in the brain. A signal that tells you to slow down and rest. And to understand why that works so well, we need to look at what is slowly building up inside your brain every single day. How coffee works in your brain. What does feeling awake really mean? When people say coffee wakes them up, they usually mean one thing. They feel more energetic. It feels as if the body has received new fuel, like adding extra power to a battery. But that is not what caffeine actually does. When you drink coffee, your body does not create new energy. Your cells do not suddenly produce more power. Nothing is being added. Instead, something is being removed. What caffeine really does is reduce the force that is pulling your brain downward. It makes the brain feel lighter, not stronger. That difference matters. Because once we understand that coffee is not pushing the brain forward, but simply releasing a brake, we can begin to look for the exact switch it touches inside the brain. That switch is not caffeine itself. It is something your brain already uses every day. Adenosine, the sleep signal that slowly builds up. Inside your brain, there is a chemical called adenosine. It is not a problem, and it is not a mistake. It is part of your brain's natural rhythm. As you stay awake and use your brain, adenosine slowly accumulates. Every thought, every decision, every hour you remain awake adds a little more. Over time, that buildup sends a clear message. It is time to slow down. Adenosine lowers alertness. It reduces mental sharpness. It makes your eyelids feel heavy and your reactions a little slower. This is why many people feel sleepy in the early afternoon, even if they have not done anything physically exhausting. It is not laziness. It is the brain doing exactly what it was designed to do. Adenosine exists to protect you from pushing too far for too long. It is a signal meant to be listened to. The plot twist: caffeine is a fake key. Here is where coffee changes the story. Adenosine works by attaching to specific receptors on brain cells. You can think of these receptors as locks. When adenosine fits into them, it sends the message to slow down. Caffeine has a very similar shape, close enough to fit into the same locks. But caffeine does not activate them. It slides into the receptor and just sits there. The lock is occupied, but no signal is sent. Adenosine cannot attach, and its message is blocked. The brain does not become more powerful. It simply stops hearing the signal to rest. This is why coffee feels so effective. You are not gaining energy. You are temporarily muting fatigue. The noise of tiredness is turned down, and in that quiet, your mind feels awake again. The truth about coffee. Why the first cup feels powerful and the third one feels weak. Many people notice the same pattern. Years ago, half a cup of coffee felt like magic. Today, 2 full cups barely make a difference. This is not a lack of willpower. It is not aging. It is not weakness. It is adaptation. When caffeine blocks adenosine day after day, the brain adjusts. It responds by creating more adenosine receptors, more locks on brain cells. The body is simply trying to restore balance. With more receptors available, the same amount of caffeine can no longer block them all. The signal of fatigue starts slipping through again, so the brain asks for more caffeine to achieve the same effect. This is tolerance. Nothing is broken. The brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do: adapt to repeated conditions. The result is simple but frustrating. What once worked easily now feels dull. Why skipping coffee feels so uncomfortable? Now imagine this familiar morning. You wake up late. There is no time for coffee. By mid-morning, your head begins to ache. Your body feels heavy. Small things irritate you more than usual. This is not imagination. When tolerance has developed, the brain has more adenosine receptors than before. As long as caffeine is present, those receptors stay blocked. But when caffeine suddenly disappears, adenosine rushes in. The fatigue signal is no longer muted. It is amplified. Blood vessels in the brain widen, which can trigger headaches. Alertness drops. Focus fades. The mind feels cloudy. This is why people often describe withdrawal as feeling foggy, slow, and uncomfortable. Again, this is not punishment. It is physiology catching up. The quiet effects on the rest of the body. Caffeine does not stop at the brain. It travels throughout the body. It can make the heart beat faster and more forcefully. It may raise blood pressure slightly, especially in people who do not consume caffeine regularly. It also increases urine production by the kidneys, which is why coffee often sends people to the restroom. Some people may feel jittery or anxious, particularly at higher doses. Interestingly, many of these effects become less noticeable with regular use. But this is not because caffeine becomes harmless. It is because tolerance develops here as well. So, is coffee bad? This is where the story often becomes too simple. Coffee is not good or bad by default. Caffeine is a tool. For some people, it improves focus and mood. For others, it causes discomfort. Some studies suggest caffeine may be linked to a lower risk of certain neurological conditions, and it is sometimes used alongside medication to relieve headaches. The key is understanding what coffee actually does. Do not think of coffee as fuel. Think of it as a temporary mute button on fatigue. When you understand that, coffee becomes a choice, not a mystery, and not a trap. Using coffee wisely. Once you understand what coffee actually does, the relationship changes. Coffee stops being a habit and becomes a choice. The first question to ask is a simple one. If coffee is blocking a fatigue signal, what is that signal trying to tell you? Are you short on sleep? Is your sleep schedule uneven? Are stress and mental load quietly building up? Coffee can mute the message, but it does not solve the cause. The second idea is timing. Many people find that coffee works best when it is not used every day. Some choose to drink it only once or twice a week, on days that require extra focus or long concentration. This approach allows the brain to stay sensitive to caffeine and reduces the buildup of tolerance. Coffee becomes a tool, not background noise. If you decide to reduce your intake, the most important rule is to go slowly. Stopping suddenly can make fatigue and headaches feel much worse. Gradual reduction gives the brain time to adjust and allows adenosine signaling to return to balance without discomfort. The goal is not to quit coffee or to depend on it. The goal is awareness. When you control when and why you drink coffee, it works for you. When coffee becomes automatic, it quietly takes control instead. Understanding the mechanism gives you the power to choose. And that is the real benefit of knowing what is inside your cup. Tomorrow morning, when you lift your coffee cup, nothing about it will look different, but you will. You will know that coffee does not give you energy. It simply quiets the signal that tells your brain to slow down. And once you understand that, coffee becomes a choice, not a habit. So here's the question. Do you drink coffee because you enjoy it, or because you need it? Our team uses publicly available online sources and AI-assisted research tools to create this video. We strive for accuracy, but errors or omissions may still occur, so please view this content for entertainment purposes only and use your own judgment when considering any information presented. Nothing here is intended as professional, legal, medical, financial, or safety advice, nor as encouragement for risky or illegal actions. We do not promote hate, harassment, violence, or misleading information, and we work to comply with YouTube's community guidelines, terms of service, copyright, and fair use rules, and all applicable laws. If you believe any part of this video infringes your rights or violates YouTube policy, please contact us.